Welcome back, everyone. This has been really, really interesting this morning. We had Melinda, and she literally helped us bridge the gap between the scientific world and the metaphysical world. That was very, very exciting. And we have the beautiful Victoria here today, or now, I mean. I'd love to read a part of her bio to you as well. Bear with me here a moment. So Victoria Jane Chisolm, with expertise in dragon and elementary energy, she mentors individuals, catalyzing remarkable transformations in their personal and business endeavors. Victoria harnesses her own unique dragon modalities to facilitate healing with dragon, laser-focused sessions, and mentoring. Her healing approach delves into releasing trauma, dispelling old narratives, and alleviating physical discomfort using the power of dragon energy, alongside in-depth readings, shamanic journeys, and dragon strands activations. As a Reiki master and a practitioner of soul pattern healing, as well as Lemurian lightwave healing techniques, Victoria offers a holistic approach to well-being. I just love reading your bio, Victoria, for starters, because here we are, we're doing this summit that's all about woo, and we're really letting people see that there's so many different things that they can go into and become, and modalities and all sorts of things. So welcome. Yay.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute delight to be here. Yeah, you nailed it. There's so many different pathways into spirituality to fix the problems that we really want to fix, things that have been holding us back for years. And the traditional ways have not worked for us in whatever way, shape, or form. So going at this in a new way, in a new approach, is often the key element that people have been missing. And I'm always seeking new knowledge, whether it's about my subjects, other people's subjects. I want to always expand my range of skills. I don't want to hold back in any way, shape, or form. You're on mute.
Here I am muted. Um, you know, I love what you're kind of coming in to talk with us about today. And we had somebody start the show yesterday with dragons, so I love that dragons are coming up again now. Dragons are a very, very powerful, beautiful, honorable and respectful
Yes,
energy. And
work with.
and it's so interesting because when I start to talk about dragons, it's like I get this whole transformation occur in my energy.
Yes.
And I know that you actually have kind of got an idea of what you wanted to talk about, and with that in mind, it's DragonFae and boundaries. So, what are DragonFae? And I find it's interesting that you're talking about boundaries because we
Yeah.
were just literally winded up the last call
Mhm.
saying, "How do we do this?" So, this is beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the dragon-fae are this huge hybrid race. They contain dragon and fae energy, of course, but they also have goddess energy, elf energy, mermaid energy, angelic energy in the mix. This whole race is very much got these key shape-shifting abilities. They can appear very dragon, very humanoid, or a mix between the two. But they are always strong natures because if we look back at the times of Atlantis, Lemuria, Babylon, these were the individuals that were pushed to the sidelines of society because of their appearance. Like they were the first I don't like the word disabilities, but if you wanted to go down that route of thinking, which I think makes it easy for a lot of people to picture, is they were marked by their appearance, but also by their abilities. So, I mean, you had very strong psychics, very strong seers, very strong healers in these communities that would have been called upon in the most dire situations to help out as a last resort. But when we look in it in the bigger picture sense, we go into noticing that there's Celtic goddesses that appear in the dragon fae world. I always say when I'm speaking about the dragon fae, we have five dragon fae queens. This is Tiamat, the Morgana. This is Bridget, beautiful Celtic mother and child protector and midwife for many, amazing healer. So as soon as you put this in perspective, you realize that this is not a race we should be ignoring. This is not a race that is negative in any way, shape, or form, but very misunderstood because of appearances or talents. I think even more as I'm driving into the words of the Dragon King, we're noticing that DragonFae and the Dragon King are very, very similar. There's a lot of overlap because of these different sort of appearances that they have. But the DragonFae constantly had their boundaries overstepped in many regards.
I'm just kind of feeling into what you said, and I'm having this imagery show up of sadly, truly sadly, like the three-ring circuses,
Yes,
the over tall man, or like just all of these aspects, and
yeah.
really recognizing that they didn't even have a chance. They didn't have a
They didn't even have
chance.
a chance. No. And when you also go further into this, you notice the legends, there's quite a few Avalonian legends attached to the Dragon Fae. One from Melusa and from her three sisters that lived in that realm. Now, if we drive in, the only person you really hear talk about the Dragon Fae is Lucy Cavendish. She did a couple blog posts initially when she brought out her Oracle of the Dragon Fae deck, but then it kind of petered away. But when we look deeper into this, we notice that all of these men and women, because it was an absolute mix of, it's not just one gender, it's all genders. Literally, when we look into this, we see people that were not being accepted for their physical appearance or felt there was part of their nature they had to hide. Now, we can look in today's society and see many different aspects to that. So again, this is why they have these very strong boundaries. They have this attitude of, you will not hold me back. I will face my fears. I will embody everything that I was meant to be. When we talk about authenticity, you just need to look into the DragonFae realm to see how beautifully and determinedly they will go at it. They will show up completely in themselves. There is no holds bars on these guys. And I think this is something we all need to take to heart when we speak about boundaries, because so many of us have grown up with this society conditioning of being a people pleaser and trying to fit into rooms that we were never meant to fit into. And in many cases, you don't always need to be a leader. Sometimes you can be happily be the follower, but at times you can still need to show up as you. You don't need to dampen your light. You do not need to change. You do not need to play small. It's very much the overused phase in most areas of life, but it is true. You don't need to change your perspective, your shift, anything. You just need to have an open mind to take on new viewpoints where necessary, but that is it.
I'm really hoping that the people here are listening to what you're saying, and the people who watch the replays are hearing what you're saying, because, this is something that's kind of been the thread through all of this, is the recognition, the awareness,
Yes.
the acknowledgement, and you're just taking it that beautiful step further
Mhm.
of seeing yourself and being
Yes.
okay with yourself and whatever that is.
Mhm. I mean, if you'd asked me even 5 years ago, would I be spending all my time talking about dragons, dragon fae, elementals? I would have said you were absolutely crazy. I would have said there is no way. I was happy at keeping my talents at friend and family kind of level. But to actually come forward and do this full time and focus on this full time and seeing the changes that it brings to people on the individual level. I think there's a lot of people that always want to go higher up and go very mainstream. Yes, that's great, but I don't think that's for everyone. And I think, honestly, if you can take the beauty of seeing the shifts an individual can make, that is absolutely priceless to me.
I just want to say something to that. Many, many years ago, my uncle has always been a crystal dude, like loves
Yeah.
crystals. He doesn't necessarily go into them for the purposes that I, as a metaphysical person, does. However, he's totally into crystals. And it took me a long time to even understand what a crystal really was, or even recognize one type of crystal, never mind my knowledge of crystals now. And what you're saying is so important for people to hear, because it's that recognition, first of all, that you're aware of something, and I don't know, this aware keeps coming in, um, and being at whatever you're at, you're going to gain natural knowledge because you're working with it to begin with.
Yes.
And as well, some of us are being pushed and prodded to be far more, and I definitely can speak to that from this last year with inner dragon stuff. and
Yes.
just like you have with the dragon-fae. So it is okay if you are feeling anxious or resistant, if you will. And it's okay to say no if it's something that you really don't feel comfortable
Yes.
going into with regards to whatever it is. But as Victoria and I can attest to, though, is that as you step into that awareness of all that there is or the possibilities, you are gifted so much more, right? Because you wouldn't know what you know now, right, Victoria?
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, I was very fortunate that I was introduced to dragon energy at 7 years old, and I was able to differentiate ancestor energy, angelic, fae at a very young age. But at 12 years old, that's when the dragon energy was really stepping forward in a bigger way for me. I didn't know it, and even then, in the magical communities, going through my early 20s, trying to make inquiries into what this was, you were still meeting this resistance of, oh, that's dark magic. That's, you don't go there, you don't touch that. And it's like, no, that is not the feeling from this energy. This is warm, this is nourishing, this is protecting, this is loyal energy I'm tapping into. This is someone that wants to heal and wants to guide and wants to advise. And that's the thing I get, whether it is the dragons, the dragon-fae, the kitsunes, the mermaids, whoever I'm working with, they all have these very strong, loyal, protective bonds. They all go about different outlooks in different ways and different methods, every single one of them. But they all come back to these core beliefs that family, when it is healthy, I'm going to stress that definition. Family, when it is healthy, is something to be cherished. That loyalty is absolutely key, but being honest, speaking up for yourself, showing up for yourself, and not having to hide any aspect of who you are is absolutely critical for them all.
Yeah, it's so. I just wanted to. I don't think I need to keep saying. I just need to highlight something. I think it's pretty obvious here.
Yeah.
If you're hearing something that your ear is catching in what Victoria is speaking about, pay attention to that. Like you just said, kitsune. I actually have at least one, two, maybe three decks of Lucy Cavendish's. I don't have the one you specifically spoke of, but I've
Okay,
got the fox one. And when I hear kitsune, there's something is catching my ear right now. So those are the moments that we pay attention to, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the kitsunes were very much mislabeled as mischief makers. Now, if we
Mhm.
look into the world of the Fae, if you do not, and this is what I say with all elementals, all spirit guides, you go in respectful. If you go in respectful with good intentions, a kind, open heart, you can work with anyone. They're not going to try and trick you, deceive you, misguide you, any way, shape, or form. They really won't. That's not their intentions. I love working with the Kitsu for emotional stuff. So if someone
Mhm.
is really suffering highs and lows with anxiety, depression, PMDD, anything like that, then working with the Kitsu in those moments is absolutely magical. But they can give us so much guidance. They can tell us when our gifts started to come shining through when we were little. You can do shamanic journeys to work with not only the Kitsus, but the Phoenix energy in their realms. There is multiple times where the Kitsus have actually rescued the dragons from Atlantis and Lemuria, opening up portals for them. There is so much, and this is why I run my little private group on Facebook, and I literally call it the Dragons and Their Allies because there's so much crossover between all of these elementals. There is so much in crossover in topics, but timelines as well. So it's always amazing to see where they show up.
Mhm. You actually, when you described when you started to describe the kitsune, I heard the reason why for me
Yeah.
kitsune is important right now. So I super appreciate that, and I'm not going to go into that because
No,
that's not
that's
the purpose
absolutely
here
fine.
today. But
Yeah.
you said we're kind of talking about boundaries and things too, and I know for myself, I made this clear at the very beginning when we did our opening grounding, and for those of you who weren't physically here for that, that included you guys as well. And part of that I did was that we're doing things for the highest good, for the most benevolent reasons, and the greatest good of all. I've set that up in all parts of my life, in everything that I do. And that's what you're talking about, when these guides, dragon-fae, entities, beings, and that, and when they come in with the best intentions, it's likely because you've also set something up as well
Yes. Absolutely. And it might be even a case of, I always say when I'm working with people's dragon teams in particular, that they are changing daily to your needs. They are showing up in the ways that you need them to show up. If your main focus is career, you're going to have a whole heap of dragons that are going to be driving you to chatting to your spiritual community, putting you in the room that you have the most potential to network in. They're going to be guiding you to write that book. They're going to be guiding you to step into your leadership roles. Golden Solar Dragon is the one that always comes through for that. But there is so many different aspects to that. Again, with the DragonFae, they're going to push you past what your comfort zone limits as you see your comfort zone right here, right now, in this moment in time. When we work with them, we've got the Morgana who is all about justice. She is not going to let other people pull you down. She is not going to allow you to be walked over. If we work with the wild huntress of the DragonFae, again, facing those fears, but she is not going to allow you to meet a wall of resistance and not push through it, especially if it's a limiting belief or something on your part, and it's just a fear-based energy that is holding you back. She's going to knock you right through that wall. She's not going to take any prisoners, but she is very kind and loving how she does it. I always say to people when they first meet her in a meditation, it's like she can look intimidating, but feel into her energy. She's got no holds bars and she's not going to be harmful, but she will not take any BS from
Mm,
you or from anyone else.
I'm really feeling the energy of that. And are you, and now I ask this for the general, I guess. We've heard little bits and pieces over this last day of speaking with, asking,
Yeah.
begging, telling, commanding. What
Mhm.
is your feel on that? How do you speak with your
I always describe my relationships with the dragons, with the kitsus, whoever I'm working with. It's like that Saturday night feeling of sitting down with your gaggle of best friends, the bottle of wine's out, and you're catching up over the week's events. You are setting things out. It's all very good, very playful, very lighthearted. There's a banter. I can vent to these guys and they're not going to take offense. But if I showed up and disrespectful, and this is something that I remember from years ago. I had a client, I was doing a shamanic journey with her. I was just coming out and I said, thank the dragon. If there's anything you want to ask the dragon, please take this moment to ask it. And she was taking longer to come out of it than I was comfortable. So I'm thinking, something's going on here. But I just left it alone and let her come back. And she was annoyed because she didn't see the initial answers she was wanting from the journey. So
okay.
she'd been venting to the dragon in a very disrespectful way. And as soon as she was telling me what she had said and the interaction, I'm like, oh, going, oh, no, 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 no. Just bad vibes all the way through. And I was like, mm-hmm. And I said, you might want to correct that. I said, you might want to go to bed tonight and offer an apology to the dragon and explain you were venting your feelings. Oh, no, I don't see myself doing that was kind of the attitude I got. Anyway, the next day, she got up and she had a mass and it was just a sis, it wasn't anything. But I always say, look, if you show up disrespectful, they're going to give you that 2x4 warning over the head. And that's how I always say it. If you know the dragons, the dragon phase, or the Kitsu messages 3, 4 times, and you're going to multiple readers, multiple healers, and you're getting the same answer, then the 2x4 comes out and it's like, boom, boom, boom. Wake up, please. That's just it. It isn't anything nasty. It's literally just you need to wake up and really pay attention. We always speak about noticing the signs, always noticing the patterns. I'm a great believer if I hear the same bit of information from 3 different people within the span of 2 weeks. There's something in that message I need to research. There's something in that
Mhm.
message I need to dive deeper into. But that's my own personal belief because I found that has worked for me through different areas of my life.
Yeah. For myself over these years, like I've been connected, if you will, for gosh, since uh, aware and connected. I'm gonna put it
Yes.
that way. Yeah.
There is a difference. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Since like 2000, 2001. And it's only in this last 7 years or so that I've shifted from, oh, they're there and I'm connecting with them and I'm asking them to do
Yeah.
this or asking for help for that, to honoring them and
Yes.
respecting them. And I don't know if you feel that energy shift, But as soon as
Yes,
I
there
say
is a
honoring and
massive,
respecting, it's that it's a
yeah.
whole different type of
It's
energy.
it's a whole different type of energy, and I've always gone in with all of my communications in this respectful energy. It's like, I mean you no harm. I don't want to upset you. I want to work with you to the best of my ability. Please be patient with me if I am not understanding something you are trying to tell me. I always go in with that humble, respectful approach. And over the time, I find it can change. It can change to the banter, like I was speaking about. It's like best friends, sit down with a glass of wine, vent about the world. But then it can also change into the moments that I might be going through a depressing episode. I might be going through hardships. They're the ones that then turn around and keep uplifting me. It's like, no, you're not allowed to give up yet. Nope, come on, keep going. We've got surprises, and there'll be little hints along the way. But there's definitely points in my life where the connection has been stronger, it's been weaker. And there's points that I just completely live by it. And by
Mm.
that, I mean, I trust it. I don't second guess a lot of stuff these days. And if I'm second guessing something, then to me nowadays, that means you just shouldn't do it. If you've got to think long and hard and look in every way in and out of it, you just shouldn't do it these days.
Yeah. I'm also finding, and I imagine you are possibly as well. I'm finding that I'm in gratitude a lot. Like I'll say thank you, guides, for the comicalest things, like big
Yes.
things, small things, even if it's just like this piece of paper came across my desk. It's like thank you, guides.
Oh no, I mean sometimes for me it can be an oracle card deck I've had for years, and I'm shuffling it, and a new client and like a new card just flies out of it. And I'm like, I've had this deck 20 odd years. Why have I never like, okay, guys, thank you.
Yeah,
There's obviously a big information here, and I'll have to maybe on that rare occasion look it up. Most
yeah.
of them I know off by heart, and I know what the energy is, and the energy changes for each person I'm reading for. But it is this completely different, as you say, honoring and respecting. I know there's a lot of people out there that love the dragon crystal skulls. I personally don't, because my feeling is always from the dragons and the DragonFae in particular, that's seen as like the slain brethren. That is really something they're not into. But if you have these beautiful wooden statues of a complete dragon, it's more just the actual head of the dragon. It's not, if you have something that is showing a complete dragon, I mean, I have a very cute dragon here on my desk that my daughter painted for me. Just one of these ceramic ones, so it's green and gold, and it's fun and it's playful. I can honor the dragons in that way. I can honor the dragons by lighting 3 candles every night on my desk. It just depends what way. I mean, you can even collect seashells to represent water dragons and dragonfly.
Mm.
So it depends on what way you love to connect into.
I love that. I've got my mom made this Raikou dragon up on my shelf
Oh,
here, and
beautiful.
yeah, it just yeah, the energy of that. You know, I want to kind of swing back around to about strengthening your mindset and your boundaries a little bit, because we're talking like in some very broad terms on one hand, but let's
Yes.
hone this in a little bit about the mindset and the dragon, fae, and the boundaries again. What are some critical pieces about mindset?
For some credit for the DragonFae, like I said, they've been through this horrendous time. Doesn't matter what lifetime, it doesn't matter what timeline they've been through horrendous times where they have just not been accepted. So for them, it was always a case of pushing against boundaries. Now, this was often society boundaries. This was testing the family traditions, the family values to find their place in the world. Now, that takes a lot of inner strength. And that is something the DragonFae do not lack. But at the same time, they are going to think very, very hard for long periods of time of, is this really what I want? Do I see a light at the end of the tunnel for me or for the family unit, if it's a family unit you're speaking about? And they're pushing it forward, pushing it forward. Usually, quite a lot of people, if they're in relationships and they've started their spiritual journey, but their partner they've been with for could be 20 years or something is not, then you naturally see a vibration of out of each other's lives. And sometimes you can pull it back together, sometimes you can't. And this is very much the mindset the DragonFae teach us, is we can be okay in these moments when we can see there is a point of no return. Have that independence, that belief, that inner strength. But if you are someone that has suffered with anxiety, depression, it is gut-wrenching.
Mm.
You are overthinking everything. Your body might be physically shaking, you might be physically having heart palpitations, nerves. Working with the DragonFae, especially with DragonFae of boundaries, the Morgana, Tiamat, the Wild Huntress, this can bring it all back down for you.
Mm.
They are your support team. This is your network. These are the ladies and gentlemen that are going to keep you going through all of this, and while making you feel completely secure within yourself. They are going to remove the seals, the implants, anything that could be holding you back in any way, shape, or form, and helping you control the physical symptoms in your body. Whether that's even just a slight case of sweaty palms and you're moving your hands around and fidgeting a lot because you don't want to have the conversations you know you need to have.
Um, I find it interesting that I keep moving my hand up. There's energy moving here between us and with the group here, very, very physically. Um, you said something that I wanted to highlight because we can look at a situation when we're not in the situation and
Situation.
have all the answers.
Oh, absolutely. But it doesn't always, you can also be speaking for someone and working with someone that doesn't want to hear the answer right
That's
away.
right.
So
Yeah.
you've got to have that delicacy to whatever message you are passing on or whatever healing you are passing on to them.
Yeah. And going even deeper into that, I think I can speak for everybody here. We've all experienced something where we are unable to see anything because we are so caught up in the emotions and the stress and what have you of it. And it's in that small reaching out that it's really incredible what happens. I've been experiencing my own major stuff happening. And yet when I walk down the hallway and I just reach out, I'm getting this sense of Mordwin walking beside me. I'm getting this sense of this beautiful warrior self. And that is this creating these boundaries, creating this mindset shifts with our dragon fae.
Yes, with the dragon and the dragonfly, they both
Yeah.
work so beautifully in this area, like both of them. And I love talking about the dragonfly because I don't really believe they're talked about enough, to be honest. Their energy is very unique. They are playful. They are cheeky. So if you think that you've got that one sassy friend that's on speed dial and you can talk about whatever for hours on end, that's the dragonfly for you. They are that sassy friend. They are going to pick you up from the broken pieces on the floor and help put you back together. But you've got to want it. There's no use to someone offering you all the support in the world and you don't want the change and you don't want to pick yourself up. I have watched many beautiful magical mentors that helped me at the stage of my journey, but then get lost in grief along the way or ill health, and they just don't want to fight anymore.
Mm.
And it's heartbreaking to see. It really, really is. But at the same time, it adds fuel to my fire because it's like, no, I can't stop. I can't stop. I can offer you love and support from a distance, but I can't stop what I'm doing. And I will support you when it is your time. You know where I am, but I can't stop and stay in this stuck energy with you.
Yeah. That was um that was like a Richter scale comment you just made, if you will, because it is, it's that, and my throat chakra is just going crazy right now. Um, and I can feel possibly the resistance of some people.
Yeah.
And maybe there's even resistance in myself right in this moment. And yet I recognize those moments, and I'm inviting you guys to recognize these moments where you have a willingness to shift a piece of yourself, even. And you can again, I'm not sure that I like the word protect, but you can place a boundary around yourself
Yeah.
and still offer out love that isn't negatively affecting yourself. You're not giving away your energy when you're doing this. The love is working through you and you're passing it out and sharing it. And I saw a post the other day, Victoria, that I think speaks very loudly to this, that the people who are not with the healed version of yourself were only meant to be with the unhealed version of yourself.
Yes, absolutely. There's a reason why we have so many people redirected from our lives at different points. And it can be heartbreaking. These can be the friendships that we thought were going to grow old with. We thought these were the ones that, have your own personal version of the Golden Girls or the Golden Gentlemen, depending whatever era or outlook you want. But we thought these people would be in our lives forever. And we meet so family along the way, and then we find out that they're not ready to keep meeting us on their path. Again, if you've ever had those experiences, it's like a soul shock to the system. And it can be really hurtful to not have that comfort, that energy behind you. But you have to keep moving. You can't stay stuck for someone else. But one of the things I would say with myself, with the dragons, is they always give hope. They're never going to cause pain. You might experience a tiny fraction of echo from unhealing that you have received, but that moment, even if you run echo removals and do all the integration stuff, that is the last bit of your resistance dying off to see it, or you have chosen to misinterpret something in some cases. But in most cases, it's that last bit of resistance just being taken away from you.
Love that. Love that. You have a beautiful gift that you want to share with people, and it's the first flight with dragons. And I know we've been talking a lot about DragonFae. However, you are actually, no, it's the Dragon House Protection and Blessings recording is what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes. And so the Dragon House Blessings and Protection was actually one of the very first recordings I ever did. And the reason I wanted to do this is because our home is such a sacred place to all of us. But at the same time, we do not always, we will sage a room, we will smudge a room, we will use our protective cleansing sprays, we'll open the windows, we'll do all these things. But we often forget about the foundations of the building that we. So in this recording, we were working with the earth dragons and we're working with royal blue dragons. Now, earth dragons are going underneath your home's foundations to cleanse all of the past occupants' energy of that home. I've even done this for someone's caravan back in the day. And literally, there was so much negativity in the caravan from previous owners. The lady kept having things fall down, fall apart. And she's like, this is nuts. Because there was so much going wrong with it. But literally, this is what it does. It removes all that emotional stagnant energy. It removes ley line energy. It removes any sort of energy that could impact your personal growth journey and also disrupt the harmony within your family home. This is energy that could even make your animals sick if you weren't aware of it. So working with this and the earth dragons to clean out the bases and then having the royal blue dragons go through the entire house, blessing doorways, windows, going into corners, putting layers and layers of magical protection in and transmuting anything that they find. It is a beautiful but very simplistic recording that you can play time and time again in your home. But if you're someone that travels a lot, download it to your phone, take it into those hotel rooms and everything like that. There is so many different ways you can use this.
Love that. Yeah, so again, I tell everybody here listening and on the replays, please do check out her beautiful gift, check out her bio and all the other things that she has to offer as well on the guest speakers page. Would love if anybody has any questions or feedback, hit the react button down at the bottom and it'll help you raise your hand. The floor is open for some questions for Sarah. And I think you probably caught that at the same time I did, where Sarah was sharing her puppy, the close up of
Yes,
her
I saw
puppy. And
it. Loved
yeah,
it.
that was beautiful. Yeah. Anybody have any questions for Victoria? This is your opportunity. She's here.
No worries, I can always be available if anyone wants to email me any questions, because I know sometimes coming live in group settings and asking a question isn't always the most comfortable. So please feel my email address is in my page bio, so please feel free to use it.
Yeah. I'm just going to feel into the energy here and see what else. You know, that dragon-fae word is just it's almost like a neon light right now.
It
Like
is, isn't
they're
it?
really asking for us to acknowledge them in a different manner.
Yes. Oh,
And
completely. Because I've had more DragonFae downloads in the last 3 years. I've had more
mm,
people coming into my group that have DragonFae lineage. Then that is something that is showing up with people that have never felt like they fitted in any circumstance, whether they might have had the most toxic upbringing in families. They might have this passion for saving the planet environment, needing to look after others and needing to go about things in completely different ways, always being fascinated by Avalon the Elon, Atlantis Lemurian, and much, much more. There's so many different levels to this. It is constantly growing and expanding. And one of the things that I've been working on this year is a DragonFae of the Cosmos healing modality as well, and working with people to clear out galactic, starseed, elemental, and ancestral lineages blockages, and helping them rebalance by doing what I call star treatments with the DragonFae of the Cosmos, to remove emotional baggage that just no longer serves them. But we are doing it in so many different ways and different styles. So one of the things that I'm releasing later this month is start again, DragonFae of the Cosmos wing activations, because they've been showing me it's not just one set of wings they have, but 5 sets, and they all layer on top of each other to bring out this more powerful energy for each of us.
mm,
But that is something that will just call to certain people, not to everyone, and that's absolutely okay.
um, you know, I just want to highlight that this is the world of woo, the world
Yes.
of oneness. It's that all about woo. And I was literally just before you started this last piece, I was literally thinking, oh, I've got a silly question, although there's no silly questions.
No, go for it.
I was like, oh well, what about galactic dragon-fae? And then you literally went into the
Yes.
galactic dragon-fae. Yeah.
Because
And
I often
lineage. I love, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I often find that a lot of people, when they think of any elementals, it doesn't matter if it's dragon, dragonfly, fae, kitsu, pegasus, unicorn, they only think about literally the earth, the water, the air, the fire, and they don't go beyond that. There is so many dimensional dragons, there's so many of the dimensional dragonfly, and yet you constantly have this overlapping world that they are not being boxed off. They all interact together, they all
Mm,
intermingle together. Any elemental race you can think of, they are going to have their roots touched into galactic energy as well, without a shadow of a doubt. That's why so many of us are starseed mutts, I call it. We're a little bit of this, we're a little bit of that. We're not just completely one race. We might identify with one race more because that is where the majority of the starseed makeup comes from, but it's not the whole picture.
wow. Um, yeah. I, again, I'm in awe right now because I just again feel like there's so much information being provided through each of you guest speakers. Like this is just very, very magical. Um, you know, I want to explore this more. I'm really looking forward to looking a lot deeper into the dragon fae. Like I know I've gotten all kinds of messages here today from you or through you. And I really truly do invite people to reach out to you. Click on her gift offer there. It's a beautiful place to start. Um, yeah, I'm at a loss for words, Victoria, because I want to say so much and yet I don't know what to say. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Don't worry, I'm not offended. But yes, I fully understand exactly what you mean. It's like a overload of information, and that's something I tried very carefully not to do to people.
Mm,
But I do like to help them find the answers that they're seeking and just listen with a compassionate tone, because that's one of the reasons I picked the name for my business, the intuitive listener, is I'm listening to the person in front of me, but I'm listening to their guides. I'm listening to
mm.
their elemental guides and whatever they need to see, and help the two marry up in their intentions, in their actions, to work together in the biggest, strongest team possible.
That was beautiful. I want to again emphasize that Victoria said
Oh,
something. Go, you wanted to say something? Go ahead.
yeah, I just saw the comment
Okay.
saying actually we have so many bodies in other universes, and this is something I wanted to say. This is something I do in all of my healing modalities. Is you will hear me. It sounds the longest-winded way to do this, but you will hear me say across all directions of time and space. You will hear me speak about the physical body, the light body, the catalyst, and the astral body in all its shapes and forms, because that is something that is so needed and so overlooked most of the time, because sometimes we will speak about just the chakra system. There's so much more to us than just our chakras. We have so many layers of energetic bodies, and they
Mm,
all need address. Sometimes the issue is not in the physical, it is in your light, it is in your astral bodies that that wound was initially caused.
mm.
So that was something I had to speak out about.
And I'm really glad you said that, because I know in my own practice what I do, and it's something similar to that. And I really would like you as the listeners to recognize the things that Victoria's been saying today, and how you can bring that into your own practices, how you can bring that into your own ceremonies, if you will, how you can bring that into your own awareness. Again, coming back to that awareness. What I was going to say earlier was that lineage, the DragonFae lineage. I just wanted to swing back around to that, because I think we are very much, how does this want to come through? Society, the societal norms, society has put us into the position that we may feel like it's not the norm to be who we are naturally.
Yes.
and and we find that in our own families. And you highlighted that at the beginning of your conversation when you said families that get along well, or whatever the phrasing was that
Yeah.
you had. That's something that I've been doing over the last year, 2 years, is really working on one of my familial relationships and where it is now. And I mean, that's probably why I'm now up on my Facebook
Ah,
profile versus
yeah.
my business page today doing this, right? It's because of those healing steps that have been done along that way. Um, what I recommend though is if anybody's really struggling with understanding who they are in this, I would definitely touch base with Victoria and find out what that DragonFae lineage possibly is. And you'll
Yeah.
have a better understanding. You'll have a
Mhm.
better understanding of the why, like, and so
Yeah.
much more. Go ahead, Victoria.
Yeah. I had a couple of years ago when I first started up my TikTok page, I chose a week and I talked about what it was like to be a dragon fae, to have dragon fae lineage, what it was like to have fae lineage, what were the common things that you would see. And the amount of people that I saw respond to the dragon fae and the Kitsu lineage saying, oh, I recognize myself in that, was astounding, because these are things that are not being talked about enough. We are still stuck to just a human outlook. Human design's beautiful. I love it. Astrology is beautiful. I love it in many ways. But we need to see past.
Very
That's
much
what
so.
we initially see and have been taught. And that is something that's highly critical just now, I think, in the universe, because so many different pathways are opening up for us. It doesn't need to just be all one way of thinking.
And you know what? I am my normal, and you are
Yeah,
your normal, and we are
absolutely.
creating our normal.
Definitely. Definitely.
Again, Victoria, thank you so very, very much for being a guest speaker today on All About Woo, the world of oneness. Uh, I mean, there's no mistake as to why you are here, and somebody needed to hear what you had to say. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much again for having me here. It's been an absolute privilege and lovely to meet so many of you. And if anyone has any questions, please just reach out.
Thank you.